Yo, welcome into the BeBall Jones podcast. The goal of this podcast in my business is to bridge the gap, to fuel hoop dreams into impactful realities on the court and beyond. So thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoy it. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode. And today, I don't want you guys to think, okay? Just bear with me. Nelson, you too. When you think about the All-Star game, think about it like this. If you had to describe the All-Star game to someone who wasn't like really aware of what was going on, so you know how you go to late night television or Good Morning America, all that stuff, and they bring an NBA player on there, and they're like, "Hey, welcome in such and such. He's this year champ, and he's this year MVP, or this many number or whatever." And they mention the All Star game. If you had to explain to somebody, it's a girl sitting next to you, and she don't know what the All Star game is, how would you explain to her what the All Star game is?
So the All Star Game is the main event of what's called All Star Weekend in the NBA. So it's like a big event they do every year. But the game is basically just the best players in the NBA are voted on by fans and by coaches. I think it's coaches and media, one of them. And they vote, and those votes gets whoever gets the most votes by position get into the All Star game. And so
Mhm.
the game is then split up by however they're doing it that year. Because this year, I think they're going back to the East and West like they
Yeah.
used to. But they was picking teams before. But you got everybody in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, and the players that are voted into the All Star game from both conferences play each other for just this real big event game. It's just a big fun game, basically. So it doesn't count for anything. The winner gets paid, but it doesn't count for anything towards the regular season. Anything. It's just a big fun event for fans and stuff like that. But it's basically a big pickup game.
Okay. With that being said, I feel like that's probably the most overrated like award that a person has on a resume, because
Really?
yeah. So when you do the rundown, like I just said, you go to a Good Morning America or a late night with whoever late night show you want to watch. Oh, welcome in Kobe Bryant. He's such and such. This the 5-time champion, won this MVP, such and such All Star. It's the top 3 things they're gonna list, guarantee it. You pull up somebody's Wikipedia, you pull up somebody's basketball reference, or ESPN, NBA.com player profile. The top 3 to 4 things is going to be if they won a championship or not, if they won an MVP or not, or whatever high-ranking individual award they have in the All-Star games. The reason why I say the All-Star game is probably the most overrated is because, one, you can easily get you have no couple years where somebody gets in or is very close to getting in. We had to happen 3 times where somebody's like, bro, you can hoop, but All-Star game, really, really, bro, come on, man. Not to knock any of them people, because obviously they can hoop, but All-Star game, especially not All-Star game starter. You hear me? So we've had where somebody from Iowa, like, come on, bro, you can hoop, and you probably should make it, but you got somebody else from Canada getting a whole country behind them. That's not fair, right? And so when you're running down this list, you go every single year. Somebody's left off this list, the All-Star game. Like, really? How you leave out this person this year? Like, it's probably the only year they're gonna have to get the All-Star game. Or this person over here, they balled out, bro. And then it's the whole issue of do you count wins or do you just count individual things? And it's like that whole thing happens every single year. This person over here, aka DeMarcus Cousins, balling out 27-12, 2/3 of the season, dominating. But shoot, his team got 27 wins too. Like, all right, bro, there's only so much I can do with that, man. Like, but then you got somebody else over here, third option, fourth option on first, second place team, aka the Hawks, back in 2012, I believe. 4 All-Stars, or the Pistons back in the day when you had Billups, Sheed, Big Ben, and Rip. Not to knock him, but 4? Gilberina said that he's like, bro, I was the top 5 scorer in the league. I'm not voted, but you gonna vote them in. What? Bet. So it's stuff like that where I'm just like, okay, the All-Star game's not everything it's cracked up to be. Like, when you have the player being left off these lists, when you have the player who actually been balling out for real this entire season, but he's left off because he's not the biggest name or because the wins aren't in the way, that's what kind of bothers me a little bit. So, like, when you look at the totality of what a player should have had, it's like, oh, okay, like, all right, he should have got this All-Star nod, but now you're messing up his money and his overall resume because Jamal Crawford should have had an All-Star game those 2 years, but he doesn't now. So now he's an All-Star list player when he's an All-Star caliber player. Especially when you look at the totality of his career. It's like, he should have had an All-Star game or 2 in there. You dig through, it's like, oh, he should have had it this year, or he should have had it this year too. But because of whatever politics are thrown in there, he's not missing. He's missing that on his resume now. So that's why I kind of say, well, that's part of why I kind of say it's like, it's overrated when you're looking at, man, this player's an All-Star. I'm like, it's cool. It's all right. It shouldn't be like the first 3 things we mention off when we're talking about somebody else's resume and career. I'm gonna back up. I'm not just gonna like throw it out there and tear it down without giving something to replace it with. But I don't need your thoughts on that first.
I understand where you're coming from, see, and I do think the system can be flawed. There's nothing perfect about it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I wouldn't call it overrated because for 2 things. The All Star game, while it might not exactly tell you who the best players were, like the absolute best 24, I think both teams get 12. I think maybe 15. So let's say 30 players, best 24 to 30 players might not necessarily be in the game. Just being real. Like the best 24 to 30 of the players in the NBA might not be the best 30 players in the actual NBA that season. So, that's okay, but that happens. But what it does allow is that number one, it allows fans to show their support for players because this is really the only way to show major support for a player other than, buying something. Like you buy their gear, buy their shoes if they got shoes, buy their jersey, go to the game, But, that's showing support for the player. But like this is the only real way fans can be like, in a non-monetary way, show support for a player. That they'll really actually feel it. You know what I mean? Or see it. Like I can post on Twitter all I want to about Giannis. That don't mean Giannis gonna see the tweets. You know what I mean? But me voting for him to get into the All-Star game is my way of being like, yeah, I believe he's, this is my favorite player. I want him to be in the All-Star game. I believe he deserves it. And he get in. Not saying my vote was like the deciding factor, but like the millions of people who are fans of Giannis make it happen. So I am in that number. But I would say your point, like, just basing on what you said. Like, you got this guy in a small market that deserves to be in. He not getting in because this guy from a big market, or like, you said a guy from Canada got the whole country backing him. So yes, that is true. But at the same time, like I just said, them Canadian fans only got so many good players to put in.
Mm-hmm.
The fans from, like these out of the country, I mean, let's not say out of these foreign players that come in and play in the NBA, there's only a few of them for that country. Like we Americans, so we, this is our league. These are our players. We see them every day. You know what I'm saying? Some of us saw them growing up. And I'm like, you got your hometown heroes. We Bama boys. We was rooting for DeMarcus Cousins growing up. We loved Eric Bledsoe. We had plenty of Bama boys to cheer for. If you from New York, you cheering for the Kemba Walkers and them like that. You know what I mean? You from LA, you probably cheering for the James Hardens and the Paul Georges and the Russell Westbrooks. Everybody got their hometown heroes. But when you got somebody like that, that's like a Shea Gill. He's the best player from Canada right now. Steve Nash was the best player from Canada right now. And right now, I'm playing in Serbia. I go to certain teams, they got Nikola Jokic all over the wall. He the best player to ever come out of Serbia. Some gyms got multiple Serbian players on the wall that played in the NBA. It only be like 7. It's only like 7 pictures of. So they have to show their support in some way. They love basketball, and this is the best basketball or the best basketball players from their country. So they, in their mind, they're like, oh yeah, gotta get him in, gotta get him in. We gotta do everything we can, especially a guy like Jokic, because Serbia is a small country. They ain't gonna have too many guys come out of here. Like they got a couple Serbian basketball players right now, obviously, but you ain't gonna have one like a Jokic come around every now and then. If you do get
Hmm.
a good NBA player to come out of a small country, he usually a good role player. You usually get you a Yusuf Nurkic. You know what I'm saying? Like a guy like that. But you got a small country, you got the best player in the league to come out of there, or you from Greece, a small country, and the best player in the league come out of Greece. That don't just happen. You know what I mean? So that I feel like they gotta allow a way for fans to really show support of these players that they love. So the system ain't perfect, but I feel like it is necessary. So I would say that's the main reasons we keep it around. But go ahead and you could go into your next point.
Yeah, I definitely get that. So I'm not saying we completely just toss the whole thing and we just abolish it, but I think when we put weight into a player's career, we definitely have to lower it back down. So like, okay, Jamal Crawford, for example, or Lou Will. When we were running down their resume, we're gonna say, of course, if they won a championship would probably be the first thing we're gonna rattle off. They won X amount of championships, or they won this championship this year. Neither of them did, so that's missing on the resume. Next thing you're gonna mention is the individual awards, if they have any, especially like MVP, probably defensive player of the year, something like that. For Jamal and Lou Will, they're known as a 6-man, so hey, 4-time 6-man of the year, it's gonna be right there. All-Star game is probably third for them, second or third for them. So it's like, oh, they won 2-time All-Star, or 3-time All-Star, whatever it would have been for them. And I feel like instead of that, let's replace that with All NBA. So now for the Lou Wills, they're not gonna get All NBA. Like, it's tough for you to say you were one of the best guards of that year. Like, come on, bro. Like, Jamal, you doing your thing. I love you, dog. But you competing with D Wade, Kobe, James Harden. Like, bro, that's tough fighting. So for the role players, the people who get those 1 or 2 All-Star nods for that time, like Isaiah Thomas, like, well deserved his All-Star appearance. Like, bro, you was MVP caliber. You were championship caliber teams for a handful of years. Like, doing your 4-year run, whatever you had, get everything you can out of them for, because there's no telling you're gonna get back. And as we see, he has been able to get back. So for people like that, that means everything. When you talking about the Kobe's, the Giannis's, and all that stuff, man, that's 6th thing you should mention. All NBA matters more, because now you battling against the head of the heads. Like, now you're talking about CP versus Darren Williams back in the day. Now you're talking about Steve Nash versus Jay Kidd. Now you're talking about Curry versus Kyrie versus Luka versus Ja. Like, now you're seeing the top of the top battle for who's the best. So All-Star Game says, hey, you've had a great season up to 2/3 of this year, a little over half of this year. And you got a whole other part of the season, bro. So what's up now? So now we get into the first team All NBA. You were the best point guard this year. That's it. It was you. You were the best 2 guard this year. It was Kobe and D Wade head to head. Like, bro, Ray Allen said, hey, I'm fighting for that second team spot. You already know when I'm getting that joint. Like, hey, y'all fight amongst yourself for that first team. I'm trying to fight for that second team. Y'all debate amongst yourselves who, like, hey, I'm fighting for second right here. That's what it feel like some of me is. KD and Bron got in the first 2 spots. You fighting for that second and third team here. That's the real cutthroat part. So when we talking about the top tier guys, hey, LeBron, KD, Kawhi, Giannis, let's duke it out. Joel Embiid, Joker, who's the best 5 this year? That's the real thing. Yeah, you might have thought you had MVP, but I got first team All NBA. Now, granted, if you win MVP, you should be first team. It's a whole other conversation. But with the back of what I'm saying here, uh, we should All-Star game should not be the first 3 things we mentioned. Pull that down and throw in All NBA instead of that. So championship, MVP, or whatever individual award, all NBA. Now, of course, if you don't have one of them and we trying to make you, give you your flowers and respect, now we start to mention he won 6 Man of the year because that's what his individual award is. Now we mention All-Star game because he's not the all NBA caliber player. So that's what, for me, I feel like, bruh, go to Kobe's joint right now, go to Giannis's place, go to Dame's place. You're gonna see All-Star game be in the top 3 or 4 of his resume, his stats that he's looking at there. Guarantee it. You're gonna see 16-time All-Star game. You got to scroll for a minute to see All NBA. Guaranteed. Do it right now. Well, do it after this episode when y'all watching and viewing this, but you feel me? Like, y'all gonna see what I'm talking about. So that's why I feel like the All-Star game is overrated. Because you're talking about 2/3 of the season, and you're not really getting the best of the best. So somebody could have been hurt that game, and you ain't really getting the best of the best. And they ain't really hooping for real. So it's kind of like, but I feel like when we're talking about people's resumes, the top of the top at least, all NBA needs to definitely take over the All-Star game. So that's why I feel like the overratedness comes in. Because Kobe, bro, come on, man. Like he kind of like sleepwalking into the All-Star game. Like LeBron, I can have an average year and still get All-Star game. Like, all average for him is like still All-Star game level. All NBA though, when's the last time LeBron had All NBA? I don't think he
He
had first
was
team.
17 last year.
But for
I
LeBron
think he
though,
was
that's not a
17
good
last
year.
year.
But that's not a good
Last
year
year.
for him though.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
See what I'm saying now? So that's where the weight comes. Like All-Star game, but you slept walking that joint, bro. Like, all right, cool. Third team All NBA? Oh wow. KD, Giannis, Kawhi. Them boys coming. Like they're taking those spots now. So that's why I feel like the weight should go towards. Like All NBA matters 10 times more than the All-Star game. Cause he wasn't even playing for real. Like they don't even care about it for real, for real. Like they just like, all right, coach, let me play 5 minutes to get the fans what they do and rest me up. Like I don't care, bro. All NBA, put weight in that. Cause that's your stamp of saying you're ranked this of this position for this year. You were one of the best 5 players in the game. You were one of the best in your position this year. So not to knock completely the All-Star game, but let's pull it down. We talking about players' resumes in their career and bump up the all NBA teams. Hey, hold on. Time out real quick. We're gonna get back to the episode. I know you're enjoying it. I know you're enjoying the show. But I need you to help me real quick and to make sure that this episode can grow, make sure this podcast and show can grow overall, and you can keep getting great guests like this. Make sure that you subscribe and follow along. So if you watch right now on YouTube, help me out by hitting the subscribe button. Go ahead and do it real quick. If you're listening in your car, chill out for a second. If you're on Apple or on Spotify, just like when you get a moment, hit the follow button, but not right now while you're driving. If you're working out or something, or you're chilling in your room, then go ahead and subscribe with me. Like, help me help you, okay? But thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. I'm gonna stop interrupting so you get back to the episode. Thank you.
No, I can definitely agree with that. All NBA definitely way more important than All Stars because, like you said, All NBA lets you know if I got one All NBA team, if I make it to the NBA, actually, shoot, just me at Columbus State had one All Conference. I really have one of almost every like type of award you can have, but just one. I got my individual award because I got two defense. No, so I guess I not just one of them, but I got two defense player of the year, so I got my individual award. My second year, I was on all tournament team, but not all conference. Hunt was first team all conference. Lang was second team. I was all tournament team, so I had a good tournament because I had like two really good games in the conference tournament. So I got all tournament team. Then the next year, I got another DPOY, but that's when I get all conference. But I'm second team all conference. And so I got all the little awards you can get for an individual, I guess you could say. But I only had that one all conference. But that all conference lets you know, okay, he was one of the best in the league this year. And the two guys the two bigs that was first team all conference, both of them was all Americans. So it was like, that's tough. Like you said, I'm Ray Allen competing for second. I'm like, dang, boy, I hope I get second team. These two All Americans playing my position.
Yep.
They probably won't get first. And I hate that because, I had to guard them guys and, I did my thing guarding them, but you know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna look at that. They looking at the total body of work, and their body of work was better, so they first team. But all the NBAs that those teams let you know, like, okay, this year he was one of the best guys. Like you said, the Isaiah Thomases of the world have that stint of being really good. That's the only way we gonna know in the future, because we're not gonna just be real. We're not gonna talk about Isaiah Thomas 20 years from now. Not this Isaiah Thomas. The other Isaiah Thomas we'll be talking about. But we're not gonna be talking about the younger Isaiah Thomas 20 years from now. The only people that will talk about him will be Boston fans. Where they be like, man, remember Isaiah Thomas? Them 2 years we had him and he was going crazy and we were trying to get, he almost won MVP, all that good stuff. Yeah, folks gonna remember, like fans of Boston gonna remember. But 20 years down the line, we ain't gonna really talk about him like that. But if we ever pull up his resume, if he ever get into commentating, if he ever end up on ESPN, you know what I'm saying? They gonna put that. I think he was second team All NBA that year though. I don't think he was first, but
I think he was second.
I think Steph Curry was still first in that point guard spot in that year, because that was like 2015, 2014, no. That was because Braun was in Cleveland. That was like 2017. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Steph Curry still was first because
Right.
because it was still the Cleveland and Golden State years. Kyrie was still in Cleveland, so IT ain't get that first team, but they thought he was gonna be MVP, man. But that's gonna be the only way we know. They're gonna bring up. I think he only made the All-Star game like once, twice during that time. He had a All NBA, and that's it. Runner up in MVP, third place in MVP voting 1 year. That's what they're gonna put on his resume. But that's going to mean something, because when people look at him, we get so stuck in championship mentality. We're like, oh, he ain't win no ring. But it's like, dog, that All NBA gonna let people know, like, hey, he was one of the best players in the league, at least for this point in time. And everybody can't say that. Everybody cannot say that. Like, your favorite player might can say it, but your favorite player's favorite player, he probably can't say that. So it's just one of them things, man. Like, but what I will say, the All-Star game tells you about a player. Obviously, you playing at the All-Star level, so I mean you was good to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
But with the All-Star game, really, or the All-Star appearances, really tell you about a player's career when they have a lot of them. Number one, it tells you about longevity, but number two, relevancy. Like your boy Kobe, for example. Like, Kobe was in the All-Star game his 20th season, 2016. That was his last All-Star game. That was the Kobe farewell tour, and he get in the All-Star game. Was Kobe playing All-Star caliber basketball that year? No. There was definitely a better two guard that could have been in there, like James Harden or somebody. I don't know, but Kobe still has relevancy 20 years in, and that means something. I think that deserves respect. You know what I mean? That people still know that the fact that they even still know you and care about you 20 years in. Ask Vince Carter how many All-Star votes he got in year 20. Probably not a lot. You know what I mean? So relevancy, there's something to be said about that. You know what I mean? That people still love you, care about you, watch you, keep up with your career, keep up with your game, going to your game, still got fans 20 years from now. LeBron in year 20, he's still hooping. And so he remains relevant, obviously. But if LeBron was on the serious decline, I think he'll still get in. Because it's like, we going to always know what Bron doing. We going to always keep up with Bron. Bron will always have fans in this world. Just like Kobe. So those things, just like Mike when he was in Washington. Mike's still in the All-Star game. Was Mike playing All-Star caliber basketball? No. But relevancy. We still love Mike. We going to get him in that All-Star game. So it's just one of them things, like, it's not really necessarily say, like I said in the beginning, the 30 best players in the NBA might not necessarily be in the All-Star game. But it means something, because it lets you know who's relevant, who got the support of the fans, who is supported by the coaches and the media. I know we ain't really too much caring about what the media say, but them coaches and them fans put you in, that means something. that means you got a special place in their heart. If that don't mean nothing else to you, like now you might have that one person to be like, man, they shouldn't even put him in there. They should have had so and so in there. But at the end of the day, you had the fans to back you to get you in. That's relevancy, and that means something. So I ain't gonna, like you said, it don't mean nothing. But I would definitely say the All NBA. If somebody had to choose, I'm pretty sure they're taking that All NBA over the All Star game. You know what I mean? Like somebody was to ask, I ain't gonna name it. Let's say you just ask a role player, like, hey man, next season, if I told you could be second team All NBA or get voted into the All Star game and play in the All Star game, which one would you take? I'm pretty sure they'll take second team All NBA because that means you're one of the best players in the league, not just a good player. Sometimes the guy at the end of the bench on the All Star game is just a good player. You know what I mean? He ain't All Star caliber. He's just a good player. Shoot, some of y'all is alternates. Somebody got hurt, somebody ain't playing, somebody opted out, and now y'all in. So you might not even have been voted in. So I'm pretty sure they taking that second team All NBA. Saying first team All NBA would be like a no brainer. So I had to say second team. But second team All NBA, I know I was one of the best players. All Star game, that means I had a good year. Second team All NBA,
Yeah.
I'm one of the best guys.
I don't know why, but CJ McCollum came to mind. And so if you asked him, hey, next year, not this year, let's say next year, you ball not having a great year. Would you rather have All-Star game and left off All NBA, or you having that year where you All NBA, second or third, it don't matter. You get one of those spots, but no All-Star game. What would he rather have? He is for sure taking that All NBA. I think the only reason why a player would not take it is because of the push behind the All-Star game, what the All-Star means. Because the weight is behind the All-Star game and it sounds sexier, and because of the money behind it. So like All-Star Weekend, some players don't even like All-Star Weekend because it's still business for them. Like I gotta do all these appearances for my brand and like Nike and Adidas. So I gotta do this for Gatorade or Powerade or Body Armor or Prime or whatever. You gotta do all this media stuff around all that. You don't even have a chance to relax or just, chill or whatever. You don't get that. So the money behind it, the publicity behind it, you get the All-Star intros and all that stuff that comes behind it. Yeah, that's cool. Don't get me wrong. There's probably a lot of money behind it. But when we talking about overall career and resume, when it comes down to Hooper talk, this little All-Star game does not carry the same weight as first, second, or third team All NBA. So you're looking at somebody like a CJ McCollum. Would you rather have one of these All-Star appearances or one of these All NBA teams? Somebody like that, boy, if you mess up and don't get that All NBA, like now I don't think about what's the bag behind that. Like, you get All NBA? I know you get a bump or something, but like if you get All NBA versus All Star, what's the bag compared to those two? It's got to be different. It has to be
Well, a
more if you
lot.
All NBA.
Well, a lot of times, yeah. So a lot of times, those type of things come as incentives in your contract. Like if you get this, you'll get this. If you get that, you'll get this. You know what I mean? So that a lot of times they become incentive. So a lot of guys have that All Star game incentive. Like if you make it to the All Star game, you'll get this bonus. If you're All NBA team, you get this bonus. If you make it, some of them like if you make it to the playoffs and stuff like that. So that's what ends up happening a lot of times. So the bonus is different for everybody. You know what I mean? It's in your contract. But what I can say is that you you have to, let me put it to you like this. You have to average certain stats a lot of times to qualify for a max deal. So a max deal or a max contract is not quantified by, awards and stuff all the time, but it's more so by stats. If you average this, you qualify for a max contract. Because I remember a couple years ago before Cat signed his max deal, I remember watching them play and they talked about it and they said he needs to maintain his scoring average and like his rebounds for the rest of the season to qualify for a max contract. And then Jeff Van Gundy was like, why does a guy need to average certain things to qualify for a max? Why can't they just decide who they want to get a max to? And then a couple seconds later, he had made like some tough three ball And Chris Webber was like, that's why he got to prove that he deserves the max or not. Because you got to prove that you deserve those things. You don't just get them. And everybody's not going to be all NBA. Cat can ball out. Like, just like Boogie back in the day. You know, we love to reference Boogie. Boogie balling out. Best center in the league to a lot of people. He third team all NBA. Because why? He they ain't winning. So he's not going to be first team or second team a lot of times because there's a big that's winning more games. So you keep Boogie in third team. If you say, hey, only if you first team can we give you this bonus, it's not fair to Boogie. You know what I mean? So what we oftentimes do, we say, hey, I mean what the league does most times is say, hey, if you average these numbers, you qualify for a max. And a lot of players qualify for maxes that ain't never been all NBA, that ain't never, some of them ain't been to an all-star game. Cat, I don't think Cat ever been all NBA, where he qualified for the max. Same thing for Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert got big time money, big max. I don't think he ever been no all NBA. If he had, he probably like second or third team, but he ain't never been first. But those stats keep you qualified. So, all NBA and All Star game become incentives to in your contract. So like you get it, you get paid more, and that's that's what you get on the back end. But most times to qualify for the contract money, for the max deal, for the guaranteed money, you just got to average certain stats, certain numbers. So that's kind of how that usually goes.
All right. Okay. Another timeout. Okay. Look, if you got to this point, you have to be enjoying the episode. Like you have to. At this point in the episode, you're enjoying it. So help me help you. Just if you're on Apple right now and you're on your phone, okay, just take your phone, press the subscribe button. It's right there. Just do that with me. Even if on your laptop, take your mouse, boom, click over, boom, do your thing. Now you subscribe. Now you linked in because you don't want to miss the next great episode that I have. But doing stuff like this helps the episode grow, makes the show grow, and the podcast grow so I can keep getting great guests and keep doing great interviews. So if you listen on Apple or Spotify, take a second, look at your phone, press the follow button, okay? And share with a friend or two because you'll find the value in this. You want to have this conversation with your friends so they can have the same value. Now the whole basketball community can grow. All right. Thanks for listening so far. I'm gonna get out your way. Let's get back to the episode. Appreciate you. Yeah, I think I was kind of wondering. So, okay, like you said, it's in the contract, right? And some stuff, like you said, is predicated on the level of output that you have. So, okay, you got to average X amount of things, X amount of stats across the board. Or you have to do X amount of things to get this bonus or this incentive. And so, like you said with Cat, right? To get extra 100,000, you got to make All Star game. Okay, cool. But now, what does that look like for all NBA? Is that more money or is it less money? That's kind of what I'm thinking about. Do you have to make All Star? Let's say you make 100K. To make All NBA, is it 75K or is it more? That's why I'm kind of thinking like that's what players would kind of lean towards more. Because in my mind, depending on the player, of course, would determine the contract. Because there's somebody that's talking about their contract is really bad. Like you have to make, like, no offense to that player, I don't even remember who it was, but they're not the All NBA type player. But they had that incentive in there. I'm like, bro, he's a role player. Like he can have flashes of moments of being like good, like Rudy Gobert. Like, bro, you can hoop, but All NBA, it's tough. You're fighting behind. I'm not Draymond. Joker and Embiid. One of them getting the first two teams, so it's like 1 and 2 already gone. Now you fighting for third. Is he getting that spot over Anthony Davis? If I have to wiggle through to get Anthony Davis, if he's ball not having a year, for that reason, the 4 spots taken up between LeBron, Kawhi been doing his thing, KD, Giannis. That's your first 2 teams right there. So I got to fit AD in there if he balling out. And you want to talk about shoot, who else is it for? Julius Randle might be having a year.
But it's a
Draymond might be having
bonus.
a year. It's a bonus. He gonna have a year. So, all right, I'm gonna slide 80 to the 5. All right, cool. That's my first 3 All NBA players. My first 3 All NBA teams. So I wonder how the NBA writes it. I have to figure that out. So I kind of looked up a little bit while you was talking. So they said NBA has made it worthwhile by guaranteeing every player walk away with a minimum of $25,000 for participating in the game. And then the winning team gets $75,000. So you get $100K if you walk away with $100K if you end up winning. But that's just NBA incentives. So the league is going to put this into what you get, but there's no telling what the team's going to give you on top of that. So you get $100K from the league. The team's probably going to give you, let's just say $50K for the hell of it, and then on top of that, you got your endorsement money and all the other stuff that comes around with that. But now our NBA team, it's more, like you said, more contract stuff. So they're talking about Book, Cat, and Trae Young. So Trae Young deal jumps from $176.9 million to $212.3 million in guaranteed money. Booker is now eligible for a 4-year, $211 million supermax contract, and Towns will be eligible for extension of $47.1 million, and it's going to jump to $58.4 million. So most of the stuff, like you said, that's stupid, bro. But most stuff is like within the contract saying, hey, if you get all NBA, you're guaranteed X amount of money. Or if you get all NBA, we'll jump you from this to this within a contract. So it sounds like All-Star game is you get this lump sum of money. All NBA is you're guaranteed this lump sum of money throughout this duration. So you jump from 176 million to 211 million.
You know what it is? All-Star game is like getting paid overtime. Like you work extra, it's overtime, you getting paid a little bit more. You get extra, you get overtime pay. All NBA is like getting a raise.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you producing, you doing something good for the company. We want to give you this raise. Now you're making this full time. It ain't just overtime money. You making this full time, longevity. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the difference. So in a way, that kind of lets you know what the more important thing is. So going back to CJ McCollum, if we said, hey, would you rather get into the All-Star game or get that second team All-NBA? Pretty sure you're taking that second team All-NBA. Because if I had to ask you or anybody at home watching, would you rather get overtime pay or would you rather get a raise? I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure they'll take the raise. So that just lets you know right there.
Yeah. So now I just don't. Now that I see this, I truly don't understand why the NBA put so much weight on All-Star game now. Because yeah, you could, let's say you that year you can walk away with more money, like you said, you get the overtime pay. Yeah, you walk your check look fat for this week. Now next week you back to regular pay. All NBA,
Mm-hmm.
you get that raise. Yeah, it might not look as sexy right now the first week or the first month or the first 3 months, but over time them checks start adding up to where you ain't got to bust your butt as much. Like, bro, I'm guaranteed this money for the next 4 years, the next 5 years, next 3 years. I gotta do is not F up the bag and I'm good. All-Star game, and you worked overtime, you worked that double shift, you get time and a half, it look good on the next check. You might have doubled your check. It's like, it look nice. But then next week, the next 3 months, you ain't finna try to do all that over again. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like when you talking about, now that I just see the contract and money behind it, it just don't make sense to me how we put so much weight on the All-Star game. Like the All NBA should be the top 3 things we mentioned. So of course your championship, because winning is everything. So championship, because that's the biggest bump you can have in your career. Next is MVP. Somebody like an AI who never won a championship, but MVP, oh, you special. You won MVP? You're the most valuable player? All right, you did your thing, bro. Steve Nash, same thing, back to back 2 times. Whether we agree if he should have had it or not, I'm not saying that. But he won MVP. That says something. Next should be all NBA for those caliber of players. Nash had a couple All NBA teams. Forget the All Star joints at this point. You were the first, second, or third best point guard out of this big group of point guards. This is a tough group, but you were the first. You were the best. You were the second best, or you were the third best. That says a lot in All-Star game. So once we get through with those three, your championships, your big-time individual awards, especially if you like a Jamal Crawford and you like, or Lou Will, you are the sixth man, like this damn near named after you at this point, like, then we should like mention that. But Ben Wallace winning 4-time defensive player of the year. Like, mention that. Dwight Howard, mention that. Because you special. Like, that's your thing. Like, you dominating over here. So championships, if they have it, the individual awards, if it's up there for that, all NBA. Now you want to talk about the role players. Now we throw in your All-Star games and the other little nods you get that add to why you're qualified for us to interview you on this platform, why we're talking about you on this platform. But I just don't get it from the overall. Like, why is Kobe 20-time All-Star mentioned more or first before his 10-time All-NBA appearances, especially if it's first team? So, I don't know, NBA. I need to hit me up for this one too. You need to fix this and start getting these boys all NBA teams mentioned first, man. But that's why I feel like, man. So don't kill me, man. Don't put me in that cross. Don't crucify me. But All-Star game overrated.
As an award, I can kind of see what you mean. So yeah, I can agree with that one. Does it still mean something? Yeah, I ain't gonna say that, but I get where you coming from.
Yeah, hopefully these people in the comments and viewers understand where I'm coming from too. If not, just let me know. Like, if I'm tripping, hey B, you wildin' right now. All-Star game means so much more. I don't know what you're talking about. You can be wrong. I'm completely fine with you guys being wrong. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. But you can just be wrong. You can just comment below. Let me know if you're on YouTube, especially if you're on YouTube watching. Just comment below. They got a whole section right there. It's called comments. You go in below, you tap that, and you start letting me know. Like, B, oh, you're so smart. You're so right. You and Nelson are amazing. We love the podcast. Or you can be like, yo, y'all stupid. You don't know the hell y'all talking about. Y'all some dummies up here talking about some blah, 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 blah. I'll take both of them. You feel me? Just let me know. And if you want to get even more like personal with us, follow him on social media. You feel me? Go on his Instagram. Go on his Facebook. Go on his Twitter. Just let him know, hey, Nelson, you guy, you talking crazy on that podcast. I didn't like that. I didn't like that episode. He'll respond to you. Hopefully. I can't guarantee it, but I can't speak for him. He might
Know
not
what
see
you
the DMs
saying?
because
Oh,
oh man. So fair warning. Come talking too crazy. Hey, and you know how social media works. You don't see every message you get. So follow him, hit him up, man. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. He got Pinterest too. He got MySpace and BeBall, AOL email. He got all that stuff, man. So hit him up all over that stuff, man. But link will be below. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, man, and you follow along on the audio platforms, man. If you're on Apple, you're on Spotify, show some love, follow and subscribe there. We truly thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. And we'll see you guys next episode. Appreciate you.